All right, welcome to our movement break for this week. My name is Zoe Levine, if you're just popping in new. And hopefully by now you have this lovely little set of balls that are available to you. Mine's got a lot more. I was just showing, I've been collecting many more. It's a great little pouch to hold all of the balls that I use. The ones that we have, you have at your service here. We have that large firm one, a smaller firm one, and a soft one. As promised, last week we worked on kind of off-roading away from just the hands and into the forearms and how that can affect the shoulders and the neck. This week we'll work more on the feet and lower legs in a different way than we've done before. Hi, Denny. Hi, Diane. Hi, Kathy. I know you all were just getting out of a meeting, so I'm glad you could pop in over here. Let's start though with what we know about the feet. We'll do, I'm gonna keep my socks on, it's chilly down here. Shoes off. I'm gonna get you a nice low view. Adjust my feet for a moment. Great. So just your socked feet or barefoot, if you can, where you are, and have all your balls nearby. We're really just probably going to use the soft one and that large one. You can have them nearby. And then from here, just stand tall and close your eyes. So the invitation is with eyes closed, you can feel into your body a little bit better. And things that you're sensing into right now are, how are your feet feeling? Right? Do you feel like you've got more weight towards your toes or toward your heels? Do you feel like you have more weight on your inner arch or outer arch? Notice if you get more weight on one foot or the other. I'm just kind of use this idea of listening to your feet for just a moment. And then you can kind of feel up into your legs a little bit. Notice if the fronts of your thighs, especially right above your knees, sometimes we'll do this kind of gripping and holding. See if you can let those go and notice if that's a pattern for you. And then the same, often glutes grip together, like squeezing your butt cheeks together or almost pinching down toward your hamstrings. So there can be a lot of glute kind of activation or squeezing that ideally you don't need just to stand up because you're stacking your bones. So notice if you've got any of that going on. And then let's start with that soft ball right at the eye of the center of the foot. So right smack in the middle, step down there, and you can bend your knees and start to move your joints around. So just knees, hips, shoulders. It's a great time to get your wiggles out. We like to pretend as adults that we don't have wiggles, but it's a good idea to get some back if you've been missing them. And then when you're ready, you can decompress that ball and move it to the ball of the big toe. So it's that big bony landmark that on your hand would kind of be matched in this position, not above it, but really on the thickest, boniest part. That's where you are on your foot. And then the ball of the second toe, see if you can find it just by feel, right? You can't see the ball, but kind of feeling, oh, it feels like that bone gets some movement or some lift. And then the ball of the third toe, beautiful. And the fourth, and the fifth. And by this point, we're curved way down, right? So you're not touching the toe at all, but you're really into the thickest bone and giving that a little lift and widening. And then inner arch right between the big toe and the heel. You can step down there. There's two spots we get in this section. There's the one in the middle and then the one closer to the ball of the big toe. This one is often corresponding with some neck tension on that side. So if it's really tender, you can take note. Outer edge of your foot right between pinky toe and heel. Step down there. Let's have a little moment. That's great if you've ever been told or feel that you have a tight IT band. This is the fascia that connects from even down low. You can start loosening that up. And then right in front of your heel. Good, just a little moment there. If you want to practice with that larger ball, I might need to take my socks off for this, it might get slidey, but you can do that now. You could also do the same basic things with the soft ball. Again, if this large ball feels like too much under your foot, you can also sit down while doing this. So if your body is like, I'm done, my other leg hurts, this doesn't feel right, you could sit down and do the rest of this. But the ball's right in the center of the foot if you can get it there. You can kind of squeeze your toes in and wiggle them around, squeeze in, wiggle them around. So toe wiggling is a superpower that you do not want to give up. You want your toes to be almost like fingers, right? Being able to move all over. When they can't, that's your foundation. We give up a lot. Pause there, take a breath. So practicing your toe wiggles, even outside of this, is a good idea. Right in front of your heel, you can do a little gliding side to side. It's like a massage, right? Just side to side, get a nice gliding. You can go on the heel for that massage. You know, anyone with plantar fasciitis, it's a great way to take care of and love on your feet. Loosen up that fascia. Pause there. Good. Okay, good. It was just my computer that was so dark. I was like, why is it so dark? Pause there, take a breath. And then heel to the floor and get your the ball right under the ball of the big toe, and you can rinse across the toe pads. Just rinse across. Feel that spreading of the balls of the foot. So it's not the toes themselves, it's directly under that bony part. And then we're going to rinse from toe to heel. It's just like a little line, straight line massage from the big toe to the heel. And then you can lightly come back, and then you can go second toe to heel with a little light pressure. That feels good. Third toe to heel. You know, this is just in case. I work with a lot of prenatal folks, and I always, laugh. It's like the idea that someone would massage your feet every day, right? And just in case that's not happening for you, foot treatment. Good. Rub down your feet. That could apply to all of us, just in case you're not getting a foot massage every day at home. Maybe take care of that on your own. Good. Little friction all over. Let go of that. Stand tall. Close your eyes for a moment and just feel the difference between one whole side of your body and the other. It's not just your feet that are going to feel different. That whole leg might feel more stable, less tension, more open, more grounded, lighter, you name it, longer. It might feel different. And then open your eyes to go to the other side. You take that soft, squishy ball right at the eye of the center of your foot. So this is review, but it's an important, lovely review. You can move your joints around, the silly wiggles, no particular order or direction. It'll give you a little shearing in the foot, as well as help to orient all your body to kind of how it relates to the foundation of your feet. And you can pause there. The second area we go to is the balls of the feet. So the ball of the big toe, that big bony area that when you step down on the ball, it feels like that bone gets to lift up, right? And then you can go to the ball of the second toe and kind of look for it. You could go too high and be like, oh, that's squishing my toe. Too low, it feels good, but it's more soft tissue, and you want to get right on the bone. So you can play around with where you're at just to feel the difference. And you're not going to hurt yourself if you go everywhere. Remember, one of our tools, one of our vitamins is just getting your foot texture into the next one. Right? So one of our exercises is just step all over the soft ball without caring where you are. Just get kind of every part squished. Has a lot of value as well. The last one is this pinky toe side. And then inner arch right between big toe and heel is our next area we'll get to, that inner arch. There's two spots here, closer to the ball of the big toe. And so sometimes we just get to do it more specific, right? The kind of, if we had to make a top 10 list of the points to hit, this would be them, rather than kind of going just everywhere on under the foot. Between pinky toe and heel, these are all kind of fascial endpoints of these anatomy trains that run down from the top of our head. And then right in front of your heel. Hence the global change that we feel. It's not just the feet that changed, right? And then get rid of that ball. If you're using a large firm ball, go ahead and grab that. Again, you could be sitting down if it's too much standing. You could use a soft ball again if this big ball is too hard or too big. But relax your toes down around the ball if you can, and then squeeze your toes and lift them up and wiggle. This side is not as good as that as the other. Squeeze and wiggle. You might have that too. Good, and then pause. Take your toes to the floor. Ball goes right in front of your heel, and you've got your gliding side to side. And so far, all I've told you for homework is do the things that you love and remember. So maybe every time you do this, you glide side to side on your heel, you remember something else. It's like, oh yeah, that feels important to me. Right in front of your heel, smaller. Pause there. Maybe this rinsing feels really important, and you want to add that in after you do your squishing of the softball. Heel to the floor, ball under the ball of the big toe, and rinse across. Lightly come back. I'm going to keep losing this ball. I can feel rinse across. Lightly come back. Rinse across with some pressure and relax toes. And then you can lift up to come back. And then you're going to go toe to heel, rinsing down the foot, like a massage, and coming back. Second toe to heel, one back, third, fourth. Good. If you're holding on to something, make sure you're standing upright and not kind of leaning forward on that thing. See if that feels okay. Or sit down is fine too. You can do a little friction, a little rub down. So it's okay if you need a little balance at first. And then switch sides for friction again. Little quick rub down. And same thing to switch once again. Good. Let that go. Stand tall, close your eyes, take a little check-in. Beautiful. Great. Notice the difference. Open your eyes, walk around the room. Notice if you feel like you've just got a little bit more freedom in your hips even. Your feet are more awake, alive, listening, speaking to the rest of your body clearer. I feel closer to the ground. Isn't that interesting? Those of us that feel a little airy and floating away sometimes. It's a great way to pin you down. Those of us that feel heavy a lot of the times will say, oh, I feel lighter actually, right? It kind of balances you to where you're at. It's one of my favorite things. One of my best friends in the world does that. Like, no, I always feel heavy. It makes me feel lighter. And I was like, oh, I don't need to feel lighter. I need to feel grounded. I love that. So I want to take you through a couple of things to talk about. That all deals with, can you picture there's the bottom of the foot that feeds and speaks to the back of the leg, right? And the lower back and the hamstrings and all these things that get so tight. So that speaks to the back. I don't know, it'll vary for everybody whether sitting on the floor is going to be more comfortable or still sitting in your chair. So I'm going to give you some options. I'm going to demonstrate on the floor, but I believe you should be able to find a way to do this in your chair as well. So kind of play around with what would be most comfortable for you. And all we're going to do is then work the front of the body a little bit more rather than the back. So we have this shin bone in the front, right? Can you feel that? And then just to the outside, there's a lot of that kind of muscle belly to the outside. So you're going to take either, I'll let you choose. I often use a ball that's kind of right between these two sizes. So play around maybe in this first one with both. And it's just going to find you're below your knee, but you're to the outside of that shin bone. And you're just going to give a little massage pressure with your hands. And I do recommend, instead of pushing from your shoulders, if you use both and just kind of, it's almost like a lean it with both. So minimal effort is what I'm saying for your shoulders and neck. And you can roll the ball around. And again, if you want to experiment with both, what's the one that gives the good amount of massage pressure? I'm not even sure which one I like the best yet. I might go with the big one today. It might change. And you can also, so that's one way, is just rolling the ball around. If you find a tender spot, you can pin that tissue down, and it's like you're going to move your skin around over that spot. It's just another way to find that shearing. It's a way to hydrate that connective tissue. And especially here, we get very caught up, depending on our habits and patterns of how we walk and how we stand, we can get really caught up. Ideally, this compartment of muscles ought to be able to move freely. Sometimes they just can't. You can also pin the tissue and move your ankle or your toes and start to realize how much of the foot movement is coming from up higher, right? And then roll the ball down lower and start your same thing all over again. You can roll the ball around, small area, and you're just looking around, you're exploring. And if you're sitting, it might be a little bit more like crossing a leg over and getting a pull this way, right? If you're sitting in a chair, there might be an easy way this way to make it comfortable. Or in a chair, some of you might be fine hugging your knee into your chest if we've been doing those squats, right? That other movement vitamin we've been playing with. You can pin the tissue down and move the tissue around. So it's like the ball is staying on the same spot of your skin and your skin is moving. It's different. You can also pin down and move ankle and toes. Okay. And then go down a little bit lower. We might get 2 more spots here. You don't have to get every nook and cranny. And it might not be as interesting down low for some of you. A lot of it might be more tender up higher, but play around with it, see what's there. You can pin the tissue down and move it all around. And then you can also move the ankle. And down low, that amount of tissue is a little bit smaller. Just explore, could be a little tender. Try some movement. And then when you're ready, just because it's another one of my favorite spots to say hello to, and since you have your shoes off anyway, you can either use a ball, the small one might be more interesting, or your fingers. And between, if you just kind of run a finger down lightly between your big toe and second toe, and you'll get down kind of on the foot itself, you'll find that V shape where you feel the metatarsal heads kind of come to a little V. Right in there is a nice little place to give us a little massage lightly. You could do kind of both from the front and the back right in there. So you can feel where the big toe, not from the knuckle, but below that, where the two bones kind of come together, a little massage there. You could use the ball there. Again, we haven't done that on the top of the foot. It's all been on the bottom. And then if you wanted to say hi just a little between each toe, there's that V mark. A lot of great acupuncture points are there. Nice to give just a little hello with pressure. And then we can do the same things on the other side. Before you do, maybe just kind of get a feel, relax your legs wherever you are. You could get a feel for what feels different side to side. Oh, sorry. Little Amber Alert, not necessary. I don't know how to. Okay, there we go. But just feel a difference, right? The front of the body gets a little bit more space and more freedom in your ankle, possibly. Which becomes important for standing better, walking better. Let's try that. Whichever ball you used on the other side is probably going to be great for this side too. Find your comfortable position, whether it's floor or seat, however you want your leg to be. Find a comfy way to kind of pull in. And the first one is just going to be that exploratory rolling the ball over your skin. And some places might be delightfully tender, right? Sometimes it feels that good feeling of tenderness. Oh yeah, this feels important. So look for that. You can pin that tissue down and move your skin around on top of it. Another way to get that deeper shear. Looking for fluidity in movement of this, especially this particular compartment. Really tends to get dehydrated and sticky. It doesn't allow for smooth moving. Good. You can also wiggle your toes, your ankle, and pin that tissue down. Love toe wiggling today. And then traveling lower, rolling the ball around, looking, exploring. Once you have a spot that wants a little bit more work or love, push down, move, pin that tissue, and kind of move the tissue itself with the ball, kind of gliding over the deeper parts. Good. And then pause. Wiggle, ankle, toes. Another way to get that indirect shearing. Roll down, all over. Might not be as interesting here, or maybe it is. Pin the tissue down, moving up and down, left and right, all over. Wiggle your ankle. And rolling down, last part. There might not be much there, but explore, see what it is. Pin the tissue, move it around, and wiggle. And then heading down to right where if you kind of run your finger lightly between the big toe and the second toe, go past the knuckles that we were using before, those toe pads, and there's almost like a little V or an indent there. It might feel really nice to give it a little pressure. You can use your ball or your hands. And then you can also find the corresponding part right behind it or under it on your foot. And just give a little either massage or pressure, whatever feels nice. Don't overdo this. Be nice. Be nice to your body. Good. And then the last thing, if you want to, again, really amazing acupuncture points, you could kind of follow between each toe and find just a little hello, a little wiggle, a little pressure down there. Of course, you can always do this more. It's a lovely treat for your body for any of that. And then I do invite you, before you sign off, to stand and walk around for a moment and notice, oh good, so hop off if you have to, and go ahead and walk around and notice what you feel. The walking on feet that have been treated on the top and the bottom and have space, it's a different ball game, right? And notice that. Ankles might feel more free or easy. Your gait might feel like a little bit lighter or different in some way. And whatever that is, just notice that note that you could find that feeling at any time. Good. I'm so glad it feels good. I do have to let you go. Let me know if you have any questions or if you want to share any of your experiences. You can always stick around, but if you need to run, go ahead and do that. And feel free to add any of those. It doesn't have to be all of it. If there's one thing from today that felt extra lovely to you, feel free to add that in when you're using your balls. Keep it that simple. Don't overthink it.
Thanks. Thanks, Zoe. See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Kathy. Thanks for joining us, Dora.